Hi everyone, here's a short video on one possible way to assign timing points for change in trend on an intraday basis. And what I have here is Euro USD 30-minute chart, and I'm using the Horizontal Ephemeris and plotting the declinations, in this case, of the planets, the Sun up here, the Moon, and the blue line is Saturn, and this red line, that's this beautiful sine wave here, is the movement of the vertex through every 24-hour period. So from peak to peak is a 24-hour period. And what's interesting about this is as the vertex crosses some of these major places, like I've noticed that Saturn, for instance, acts as a trigger for price change. And this is different than aspects that we've been traditionally using with astrolog. So the definition of the declination is where is the planet, whether it's the Sun, the Moon, or other planets, relative to the Earth in terms of latitude. So 0 would be the equator, and north latitude, the maximum travel for the Sun would be about 23 degrees north. During these, in New York area, that would be the summer solstice, and minus 23 during the winter solstice. I'm sorry. So before I get too far along, I wanted to point out where I came upon this technique originally and give credit where credit is due. Yuri Shremenko is really, we miss him terribly, but one of the great traders who created a series of videos and was working with Sergey earlier. If you go to timingsolution.com and you click videos here, and then head over to video classes with Yuri Shremenko right here, and here we have a bunch of his videos. I highly recommend that you watch these. And the one that is relevant today is the one titled Horizontal Ephemeris, and it's still
entry signals with the horizontal ephemeris and a few other things.
YouTube.
This is going to be
Yuri's
an
YouTube
informal
page, though, there aren't these
presentation.
videos, so you have to
No
only get to
notes,
them
no
through the
rules. I'm
Timing
just going to
Solution
talk and present some ideas.
website. Okay.
It's for daily charts.
Back to here. Yuri doesn't deal with a vertex sine wave here, and he is dealing with longer term movements, but today's video is just how can we use vertex declination as it crosses some key points. One of the points Yuri also likes to make is where there's a cluster of points, for instance, right here, where we have crossing of Jupiter, the Moon, and Pluto, and then Saturn, and then we reverse that. So we have this nice cluster, and notice this reversal in here. Right here, let's starting at the beginning of the week. Vertex crosses Sun, and we have this up movement. We have this cluster in here of these three crossings, and we have a down movement. At this cross, we have a little bit of up movement, and notice this bottom down here, and up. So if you follow this along, let me zoom in a little bit more. We can see some correlation with the crossing, the clusters, and the change of trend. And if you studied this long enough, which I have not, by the way, I have not been using this to trade. It's worthy of my looking at it some more, however. You could set vertical lines and say this would be a point where trend would change, or we expect it to change into the future. and then you could act. So here we have a crossing out here this evening, July 24th at 1700 hours Eastern, or this cluster developing at 2000 hours, and then draw trend lines, and then on a trend line break of price, you could be reasonably certain that the energy of this cross might result in a reversal of the trend. Okay, that's it. Something for you to look at. In order to get to this in timing solution, you could use tools, Horizontal Ephemeris, and then I'm using declination right here, and then edit model, I added in vertex right here, and add the plus sign to that, and then I made this thickness 3 to really stand out here. Then back to model and click calculate. So tools, horizontal ephemeris, declination, default values, and I added in a transit moon, transit vertex, and click calculate, and off you go. That's it for now. See you in the next video.